They had it all. Fame Fortune fans screaming their names, but behind the red carpets and million-dollar mansions, some stars lost everything. One bad decision, one addiction, one twist of fate, and the spotlight went dark. From luxury to living in cars, from Hollywood icons to the streets. These are the shocking stories of celebrities who fell from glory to nothing. Stars that became homeless or went completely broke. Number 1, Lonnie Willison from Baywatch. Beauty to Boulevard Blues. Once upon a red carpet, Looney Willis was living the California dream. Tanned, toned, and turning heads as a fitness model and magazine cover girl. Married to Baywatch hunk Jeremy Jackson, she looked like she'd stepped straight out of a Malibu fantasy. Perfect smile, perfect body, perfect life. Spoiler alert, Hollywood doesn't do happily ever after. After her 2014 divorce, that glossy life cracked faster than a dropped mirror. Lonnie's mental health unraveled. Work dried up and the bills piled higher than her hair in the early 2000s. By 2016, she'd lost her apartment, her car, and just about everything else except apparently the paparazzi. Now, the woman who once strutted red carpets walks the streets of Santa Monica, pushing a shopping cart instead of posing with one. Gaunt, toothless, and sunburned, she's almost unrecognizable. A haunting snapshot of what happens when fame forgets your name. It's tragic, yes, but in true Hollywood irony, Lonnie's story is still being photographed. The same cameras that once adored her now chase her down alleys. From flashbulbs to streetlights, Lonnie Willis's fall reminds us in Los Angeles, you can go from it girl to is that her? Faster than a headline refresh. Number 2, Wesley Snipes from Blade to the taxman's worst nightmare. In the 90s, Wesley Snipes wasn't just a movie star. He was the action hero. From New Jack City to White Men Can't Jump, and then slicing vampires to dust and Blade Snipes. Ruled Hollywood with abs of steel and a swagger that could cut glass. The guy made sunglasses at night look like a lifestyle choice. But even vampire hunters can't dodge the IRS. While Wesley was raking in millions, Uncle Sam was apparently his least favorite fan. Between 1999 and 2004, Snipes made about $40 million and didn't pay a dime in federal taxes. His excuse, he claimed he was a non-resident alien. Nice try, Dracula. The court wasn't amused. In 2008, the Blade star traded red carpets for orange jumpsuits, sentenced to 3 years behind bars and a $23.5 million tax bill. Turns out you can't outfight the tax code, not even with a sword. When he got out in 2013, Snipes kept things low-key, popping up in a few films, but avoiding the spotlight like it was sunlight. Hollywood loves a comeback story, and if anyone can pull off one last act of redemption, it's the guy who once made paying taxes look optional. Number 3, Corey Haim, the lost boy who never grew up. In the late 80s, Corey Haim wasn't just famous. He was the teenage dream, starring in hits like Lucas' License to Drive and the cult classic The Lost Boys. He had fans camping outside his house and received over 2,000 letters a week. Every kid wanted to be him. Every girl wanted to meet him. But while Hollywood saw a bright young star behind the scenes, Corey was being introduced to something far darker than fame drugs. As the years rolled on, the teen idol became the cautionary tale. By 2001, he wasn't living in a mansion. He was living in a garage with his mom. And a true Hollywood story showed him slurring words, trying to edit a demo reel to get work, and even pawning off personal items for pizza money. At one point, he tried to sell clumps of his hair and a tooth on eBay. Talk about a limited edition collectible. His charm never faded, but the sparkle in his life did. When Corey died in 2010 from pneumonia, his family couldn't even afford his funeral and had to ask for donations. It was a heartbreak ending for the boy who once ruled Hollywood's night sky, a star that burned too bright, too young, and far too fast. Number 4, Margot Kidder. From Lois Lane to life in the fast lane and off it. Margot Kidder wasn't just Superman's girlfriend. She was the definition of bold, brainy, and breathtaking. As Lois Lane, she flirted with danger and deadlines, trading quips with Clark Kent while stealing America's heart, with the Amityville horror cementing her stardom. Margot had it all: fame, money, and that unmistakable spark. But Hollywood's Golden Girl soon took a detour straight into chaos. In 1990, a brutal on-set car crash left her temporarily paralyzed and broke. From there, life hit the fast lane in reverse. Unable to work, drowning in debt, she declared bankruptcy. Then came 1996. Margot vanished. When police finally found her, She was sleeping in cardboard boxes, hair hacked short, teeth missing, and sanity hanging by a thread. The woman who once flew with Superman had fallen to Earth hard, but Keeter wasn't done. She clawed her way back, moving to Montana, becoming an activist and even finding peace. Sadly, in 2018, the curtain fell for good. Her death was ruled A by overdose, a tragic final chapter for the woman who once made the Man of Steel weak in the knees. Hollywood taught Margot how to fly, but it also showed her how far there was to fall. Number 5. Leif Garrett, from teen idol to tragic encore. In the late 70s, Leif Garrett was everywhere with his feathered hair, dreamy smile, and bubblegum pop hits. He wasn't just a teen idol. He was the poster boy taped to 1,000,000 bedroom walls. Every time he smiled, a disco ball somewhere spun faster. Fame, fortune, and fangirls. Leif had it all before he could legally drink. But Hollywood fame is like soda sweet at first. Then it goes flat. By the mid-80s, Leif's career had hit the pause button. The music stopped, the roles disappeared, and the party turned dark. Drugs took center stage, and tragedy soon followed. A car crash left his best friend paralyzed. A guilt Leif carried heavier than his gold records. The arrests started piling up 2004. 2006, 2010, like bad sequels nobody asked for, his mugshots replaced magazine covers, and his net worth sank faster than a one-hit wonder's comeback tour. Still, the guy who once made teenage hearts flutter became a living warning label. Fame fades. But your choices don't. Leif Garrett went from stage lights to street lights, a superstar who learned the hard way that not every encore is worth the applause. Number 6. Erin Moran, from Happy Days to Heartbreaking Nights. Back in the 1970s, Erin Moran was America's sweetheart. As Joni Cunningham on Happy Days, she was the little sister everyone adored. Cute, witty, and always one step ahead of the boys. She even got her own spin-off, Joni Loves Chachi, because, well, America really loved Joni. But when the cameras stopped rolling, the happy days were over. Hollywood moved on, and Erin found herself stuck in the past, typecast, jobless, and spiraling into depression. By 2010, the actress who once lived under studio lights was living in a trailer park in Indiana with her mother-in-law. When that went south after a drunken brawl, Erin reportedly ended up homeless. The girl who had millions of fans now had nowhere to go. In 2017, tragedy struck. Erin Moran passed away at just 56. No drugs, no scandal, just the quiet cruelty of stage 4 cancer. It was a devastating end for the actress who'd brought so much joy to others, only to run out of it herself. Hollywood gave Erin fame, fortune, and her face on lunchboxes, but it didn't give her a safety net. Her story reminds us that sometimes behind the laugh track, the pain is all too real. Number 7. Gary Coleman, the little big man of Hollywood. In the 80s, Gary Coleman was pure TV gold. As Arnold Jackson on Different Strokes, he made America laugh with one legendary line, "What you talking about, Willis?" A phrase so iconic it could stop a conversation and start a catchphrase empire. He was small in size, but a giant in charisma, one of the most recognizable child stars on the planet. But Hollywood's spotlight can burn hotter than a studio light. Behind the laughter, Gary battled serious health problems, including 2 kidney transplants that stunted his growth. And while he was making millions, someone else was cashing the checks, his parents and business manager. Coleman sued them in 1989 and won only to declare bankruptcy 10 years later. Talk about a rerun nobody wanted. Adulthood wasn't kind, roles dried up, scandals piled on, and depression followed. By the 2000s, the once-beloved sitcom star was facing more court dates than auditions. When Gary passed away in 2010 at just 42, the world mourned a man who gave them laughter but got heartbreak in return. The tiny powerhouse who once ruled primetime TV left behind a lesson bigger than any punchline in Hollywood. It's not your height that matters. It's how high you're allowed to climb before they pull the ladder away. Number 8. Brett Butler. From stand-up queen to stand-up survivor. In the 90s, Brett Butler wasn't just funny, she was fearless. As the sharp-tongued star of Grace Under Fire, she ruled ABC's comedy lineup with sass southern charm and a cigarette always ready for a punchline. She was the kind of woman who could roast you and make you thank her for it. But behind the laughs, Brett's life was anything but sitcom material. Fame brought fortune and with it addiction. Her behavior grew erratic, the show got chaotic. And in 1998, ABC finally pulled the plug. The grace was gone. The fire was out. She lost her home, her savings, and eventually her footing. By 2011, Brett Butler, once a network star, was sleeping in homeless shelters in Georgia. It's the kind of plot twist even Hollywood wouldn't write. But she didn't stay down for long. She clawed her way back, landing small roles and trying to rebuild. Then came 2020, the pandemic hit, work vanished, and rent piled up again. In a bittersweet encore, friends launched a GoFundMe to keep her in her apartment. The woman who once made millions now needed $12,000 just to keep the lights on. Still, Brett being Brett, she laughs through the pain. After all, if life's a joke, she's determined to nail the punchline. Number 9. Danny Bonaduce from Teen Idol to Dumpster Survivor and back again. Danny Bonaduce, the red-headed wisecracker from the Partridge Family, looked like every kid's dream in the 1970s fame, money, and screaming fans. He was the middle son of TV's favorite singing family, cracking jokes and stealing scenes. But behind that mischievous grin was a storm waiting to hit. Fast forward to 1990, Danny flies to Florida to host an anti-drug event for kids and gets busted trying to buy cocaine. You can't make this stuff up. A year later, he's arrested again, this time for beating up and robbing a sex worker in Phoenix. His radio career tanks, his fame fades, and he ends up living in his car behind a dumpster near Hollywood Boulevard, literally sleeping next to his own star on the Walk of Fame. Fans would stop for autographs, smiling, unaware that their childhood hero's home was a trash bin away. But in true Hollywood fashion, Danny didn't stay down. He clawed his way back, kicked the drugs, and rebuilt his life one laugh at a time. Since 2011, he's been hosting a morning radio show in Seattle, proving that sometimes the funniest comeback stories are born from the darkest corners. Preferably not behind a dumpster. Number 10. Randy Quaid from Hollywood royalty to fugitive in flannel. Randy Quaid wasn't just Cousin Eddie from National Lampoon's Vacation. He was Cousin Eddie, the lovable, clueless hillbilly in the movies, slowly started blending into real life. He starred in over 90 films, worked with the biggest names in Hollywood, and then somehow ended up squatting in his own former mansion and running from the law. Talk about a plot twist even Chevy Chase couldn't see coming. In 2009, Randy and his wife Evi were arrested for allegedly paying a $10,000 hotel bill with a dud credit card. The next year, they decided to revisit their old house in Santa Barbara by breaking into it and moving into the guest house. When the cops showed up, Randy claimed he still owned the place. Spoiler, he didn't. Arrest warrants were issued, but the Quaids skipped court and fled to Canada seeking asylum because apparently Hollywood fame now counts as persecution. After a long, bizarre saga involving wigs, conspiracy theories, and a few very dramatic YouTube videos, the couple finally settled in Vermont. No red carpets. No premieres, just quiet woods, maple syrup, and the occasional flash of that wild Cousin Eddie energy. Randy Quaid went from Hollywood star to real-life outlaw, and somehow it feels like the perfect sequel nobody asked for. Number 11, Natasha Lyonne. From American Pie to Orange is the new comeback. Natasha Lyonne burst onto the scene with that raspy voice, sharp wit, and the kind of attitude that made American Pie unforgettable. She was Hollywood's favorite smart-mouthed rebel until life decided to test just how rebellious she could get. By the early 2000s, Natasha's wild streak had turned from fun at parties to see you in court. She racked up DUIs, trashed a Manhattan townhouse, and waged war on her neighbors, all while spiraling into heroin addiction. The actress who once owned the red carpet was suddenly homeless, sick with hepatitis C, and clinging to life in a hospital bed. But Natasha Lyonne doesn't do quiet tragedies. She does chaotic comebacks. After hitting rock bottom, she checked herself into rehab, got clean, and clawed her way back into Hollywood, one small role at a time. Slowly, her sharp humor and raw honesty turned her pain into power. Then came Orange is the New Black, the perfect stage for her to transform chaos into charisma. Audiences fell in love all over again, and Natasha rode that wave straight into Poker Face, her hit show on Peacock. She's proof that even if you crash, burn, and nearly blow up your own career, you can still rise again, preferably with killer eyeliner and a punchline that stings just right. Number 12. Bobby Driscoll, the boy who never grew up and the dream that did. Bobby Driscoll was Disney's golden boy, literally the voice of Peter Pan and the face of innocence in Song of the South and Treasure Island. By 9, he had fame, fortune, and a juvenile Oscar sitting on his shelf. By 16, he was flying high until puberty hit harder than Captain Hook's hook. Disney took one look at his acne-covered face and said, "Sorry, kid, you're not magic anymore. Just like that, the boy who taught everyone to never grow up was kicked out of Neverland. What followed was anything but a fairy tale. Rejected by Hollywood, Bobby slipped into drugs and petty crime trading, red carpets for mugshots. He did time in a rehab facility, got out, and tried to make a Broadway comeback, but nobody was buying tickets. He wandered through New York, broke and forgotten, a child star without a storybook ending. In 1968, two kids playing in an abandoned building stumbled upon his body, a tragic twist worthy of a dark Disney remake. No fame, no fortune, no applause, just a lost boy who couldn't find his way home. Bobby Driscoll was 31 when he died, proving that in Hollywood, the magic never really leaves. But it sure doesn't last forever. Number 13, Marvin Gaye, the Prince of Motown and the Tragedy. He couldn't sing away. Marvin Gaye didn't just make music, he made soul. The man's voice could melt hearts, start revolutions, and turn a whisper into a prayer. Hits like Let's Get It On and Sexual Healing crowned him. The Prince of Motown, a title he wore like a silky love song. But behind the smooth grooves and romantic lyrics, Marvin was fighting demons louder than any stage crowd. By the mid-70s, the hits kept coming, but so did the chaos. A brutal divorce, missed alimony payments, and a mountain of debt big enough to bankrupt Motown itself. The same man who sang about love was now knee-deep in cocaine paranoia and tax trouble. To escape it all, Marvin fled to Europe, living in exile between recording sessions and breakdowns. When Sexual Healing dropped, it looked like the comeback of a lifetime. But the pain never really left. Then came 1984, the year the music stopped. During a heated fight with his father, Marvin stepped into the storm one last time, and his father pulled the trigger. Just like that, one of music's greatest voices was silenced by the person who gave him life. He died nearly $10 million in debt, a tragic, poetic ending to a man who gave the world love songs, but never found peace for himself. Number 14. Aaron Carter, the boy pop star who couldn't outrun his own spotlight. Aaron Carter was every teenage girl's dream and every Nine's mom's car radio soundtrack. At just 9 years old, he sold 1 million copies of his debut album, danced across the same stages as the Backstreet Boys' Thanks Bro Nick, and became pop royalty with Aaron's Party Come Get It, a song that sounded like pure sugar and teenage rebellion. The kid had everything: fame, fortune, and frosted tips. But fame burns fast, and Aaron learned that the hard way. As the years rolled by, the bubblegum faded and the headlines got darker, his music career stalled, and Aaron became better known for family feuds, Twitter meltdowns, and reality TV chaos than for any chart-topping hit. He accused his mom of stealing his money, filed for bankruptcy, and admitted to struggling with addiction and mental health. By his late 20s, the pop prince had turned into a tabloid, regular, thinner, twitchier, and desperate to be seen again. He tried to make a comeback. New singles, new look, new Aaron. But instead of selling albums, he ended up selling nude photos on OnlyFans just to stay afloat. Behind the filters and the bravado was a kid who'd grown up too fast and never learned how to land. On November 5, 2022, Aaron Carter was found dead in his bathtub, just 34 years old. The cause drowning from a lethal mix of Xanax and inhaling refrigerant. A tragic full stop to a story that began with a child's dream and ended in a Hollywood cautionary tale. The boy who threw the ultimate party never got to see how it ended. Number 15, John Drew Barrymore. The Hollywood heir who lost his script. John Drew Barrymore was born into Hollywood royalty, the son of legendary actor John Barrymore, and the father of America's sweetheart Drew Barrymore. You'd think the spotlight was his birthright, but instead of basking in it, John seemed determined to run from it. Usually straight into trouble. He started out strong with a few decent movie roles, including High Lonesome and The Sundowners. But Hollywood expected another legend. What it got was a headline magnate with a drinking problem. By the late 1950s, John's off-screen drama was doing better ratings than his films. He was arrested for brawling with his wife in a parking lot, then again for a hit and run while drunk. His career crashed faster than his car, so he did what any disgraced actor might do. He fled to Italy, grew a beard, and tried to reinvent himself as a mysterious expat artist. Spoiler, it didn't work. When he came back to Los Angeles, the erratic behavior only got worse. He vanished into the wilderness for years, living like a hermit with a Hollywood name. Friends called him the Ghost Barrymore, haunting the family legacy, but never quite living up to it. By the early 2000s, John was sick, broke, and alone. And then, in a twist worthy of a redemption movie, His daughter Drew, who'd survived her own Hollywood meltdown, stepped in to care for him. She paid his bills, sat by his side, and made sure his final chapter ended with dignity. John Drew Barrymore died in 2004, proving that even in the most dramatic families in showbiz, love still finds a way to steal the scene. Number 16, Willie Ames, from teen idol to cruise ship comeback. In the late 70s, Willie Ames was living the dream poster boy of 8 is enough teen idol and every girl's favorite TV brother. Then came Charles in Charge, which made him even bigger. The kid from Kansas was suddenly making over $1 million a year, smiling for magazine covers, and living like the American dream had a laugh track. But Hollywood dreams have an ugly sense of humor, and Willie was about to find the punchline. As fast as he rose, he fell even faster. Fame faded, roles disappeared, and the good times turned into bad habits. Booze, drugs, a messy divorce, the whole tragic starter pack. Before long, Willie Ames went from Hollywood mansions to sleeping under bushes and in parking garages. The man who once had his own fan club was now counting change for gas money. He hit rock bottom so hard it practically echoed. But here's the twist. Willie didn't stay there. He found faith, sobered up, and literally started over from the bottom. His new gig working on a cruise ship as a ping-pong boy. It sounds like a sitcom setup, but it was real. He worked his way up one shuffleboard game at a time until he became a cruise director, the boss of the boat. Eventually, Hollywood called again, and Willie answered. These days you can catch him smiling on the Hallmark Channel, starring in wholesome movies that look nothing like his past. From teen idol to homeless to heartwarming comeback, Willie Ames proved that even if life throws you overboard, you can still swim back, grab the mic, and cue the happy ending music. Number 17, Charlie Sheen. Winning, losing, and everything in between, Charlie Sheen was Hollywood's bad boy before bad boy became a brand. Born into the famous Sheen dynasty, he didn't just inherit his dad Martin Sheen's acting chops. He got the wild streak too. From Platoon to Wall Street, Charlie was on fire. The ultimate mix of talent, swagger, and danger. Then came 2.5 Men, the sitcom that turned him into the highest-paid actor on TV. Life was one long party. Mansions, models, and more catchphrases than morals. He wasn't just winning, he was redefining the word. But then the winning stopped. Somewhere between the tiger blood and the Adonis DNA, Charlie's empire crumbled in spectacular fashion. There were drugs, stars, public meltdowns, and a Twitter feed that read like Shakespeare on crack. He insulted producers, got fired from his own hit show, and became a walking meme before memes were even cool. Hollywood didn't know whether to laugh or call 911. Still, in classic Sheen style, he didn't disappear quietly. He owned his chaos-turned-scandal into survival, and surprisingly found a little redemption. After revealing his HIV diagnosis, Charlie started getting clean, focusing on his kids and even poking fun at his own madness. These days, the man who once burned down his career with a flamethrower seems calm, almost normal. Charlie Sheen's story is pure Hollywood wild, reckless, tragic, and absurdly entertaining. He's proof that you can lose everything, go viral for all the wrong reasons, and still find a way to stand up, grin, and say, "Yep, I'm still winning." Number 18, Macaulay Culkin. The kid who outsmarted burglars in Hollywood. Macaulay Culkin was every Nines kid's hero. The clever little boy who booby-trapped 2 grown men in Home Alone and made Christmas movies legendary. By the time he was 10, he wasn't just rich. He was Kevin Mallister rich. One-liners, pizza boxes, and paint cans on strings turned him into the most famous child star on the planet. But fame, as Hollywood loves to remind us, is the ultimate slippery staircase, and Macaulay was about to step on a few marbles of his own. After a string of hit movies, My Girl Richie Rich, The Good Son, Macaulay decided he'd had enough of camera scripts and frankly everyone telling him what to do. He retired at 14, then came the headlines, his parents' ugly custody. Battle over his millions, rumors of drugs, and that infamous mugshot that made the internet collectively gasp. The adorable kid from Home Alone had officially grown up, and not in the way fans hoped, but Macaulay, ever the trickster, wasn't done. He pulled the ultimate Hollywood reversal, stayed low, stayed weird, and slowly rebuilt his life on his terms. He launched a comedy band called The Pizza Underground, poking fun at both himself and pop culture. He started acting again, small roles, indie projects, and most shockingly, he seemed happy. Today, Macaulay Culkin is clean, a dad, and still cheeky as ever. He even married Disney star Brenda Song. Talk about the crossover nobody saw coming. From lost boy to grown man, he proved you can survive Hollywood's traps, especially if you're the kid who built them in the first place.